Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? This right here is the 2023 Audi RSQ8, and I'm gonna give you guys an outside walk around, an inside tour, and I wanna know if you would take this over a BMW X6M. So off the bat, everybody compares this to the Lamborghini Urus, and I honestly don't think that is a fair comparison. Even though they're based on the same platform, they make different horsepower levels, and they're catered to very different people. This is way more closer of a competitor to the BMW X6M because of who it caters to. The Lamborghini Urus compares more to an XM driver than it does to an X6M. If you guys get what I'm saying, I hope that makes sense. Because this is for someone who doesn't want to stand out visually. Like, this is a very subtle car. It stands out for people who know it, but if you don't know it, it looks like a regular Audi SUV. Same thing with the X6M or even the X5M for that matter, because those look like normal SUVs that have a lot of the performance and features underneath that just don't stand out from the get-go. Whereas the X6M stands out significantly more, same as the Lamborghini Urus, which I don't even need to tell you, that thing stands out anywhere you put it. So let's get straight into the design of this thing. And again, like I said, subtle, but also very, very nice looking. I love Audi's big grills. They kill it on every car they put it on, and they've been like the pioneer to do it before everyone else has been adopting it. And this is no exception. You get the Audi rings up front, and this one does not have the black optic package, which is nice. It's a nice change. They usually put on a lot of the press vehicles. And I like the fact that this one doesn't have that. And you look in there, that is the night vision camera, which is really cool. You get centers integrated nicely into the grille. And honestly, guys, it is really cool that they have the Audi R8 inspired vents. They put on the RS5 as well. They're not functional, but it's a cool design feature. Gives it a little bit of edge to it. Going on the side here are your LED matrix headlights. And your daytime lights are up here, and your projector beam's actually down there. And they integrated the reflector into the headlight unit, which is pretty cool. Usually they see it tacked on here, but it's a nice little additional thoughtful aspect of it that they actually put it into that itself. Coming down here, you get a nice chin spoiler up here that does have a nice matte silver finish to it. And then side vents are obviously functional to feed air into those heat exchangers. I'm gonna take a step down here and show you there is an even lower lip. You do wanna be careful because there is a pretty significant overhang to this thing, and it will trigger parking sensors when you're actually going in and out of a driveway. So just keep that in mind. Even though it's an SUV, it does sit pretty low. Taking a step back here, this is the Waitomo blue metallic paint, and it's a very dark navy, but also shines very nicely in the light. Just take a look at that. Looks really cool. In the dark, it looks very dark, almost like a really dark navy or almost a black. But in the light, it pops very nicely. Looking at these wheels, we can't ignore them, guys. They are 23-inch wheels, have Continental tires, measure 295 35s, and they are large. And I think Audi kills it with a lot of the wheel packages they put on their vehicles. This one has the carbon ceramic brakes, largest carbon ceramic brakes you'll see on an SUV, and they put the brake calipers that are silver. They're not the red brake caliper that you see on a lot of Audi RS models. So a very subtle touch. If you don't look at this for too long, you won't really expect it to have that type of stopping power. Just by the looks of it, they look like normal, just really big, but normal looking brake rotors and brake calipers. So coming along the side here, you get silver on the mirror caps. It's a nice touch. It's a matte silver. It looks and feels very premium here. You obviously get the same silver treatment around because this does not have the black optic package. So just keep that in mind. There's obviously keyless entry and go. We don't need to really harp on that too much. These doors are soft closing. So if I just close it slightly, vacuums it in nicely for you. It's not vacuuming, but, and you also get the acoustic glass. So that's all a nice touch. Privacy glass in the back, standard. They are tinted, so you don't need to do that yourself. If you want to add a layer, you can. It'll just only get darker from there. And coming around the side here, same situation with the back. The brakes are smaller. They're also carbon ceramics, and they got nice Audi branding on them. But man, these wheels, even though they're like a nice, simple, like silver finish, really cool spoke design to them. I think they suit this car really well. Coming around the back, it's the Q8, right? So you get that coupe-like body style similar to the X6M, which really kind of started it all. This is Audi's take on it, and it works really nicely. You get a deck lid spoiler that extends really far out and has a nice little lip to it to help with the aerodynamics. And then you get this side portion which extends pretty far back from the glass, which is cool. The windshield wiper is up here. They couldn't have really packaged up top, so it's not too big of a deal for me. And if you come around back, you get the light bar, which they've been doing for a long time and now has become a really big trend in the automotive design sphere. And I think it works really well. These vents are not functional, so that is a little bit of a bummer, but I wouldn't expect it to do anything functional in that area. Coming down here, you do get a nice little diffuser, nothing crazy. It's more design than it is aesthetic because it doesn't really extend that far down. And then you get the oval exhaust tips, which aren't 100% real, quote unquote. They have little small exhausts sitting underneath here. Let me actually just start it up and rev it for you guys real quick. And like you guys heard, this does have that 4,000 RPM rev limiter. It just, we have to live with it. It sounds way better when you're actually on throttle driving it and on load. But let's talk about this engine, which ultimately made those sounds. So this is the 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 that's in a lot of vehicles such as the Cayenne, the Lamborghini Urus, and we're talking Cayenne Turbo GT. And in this situation, it makes 591 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. So a lot of torque, but also a lot of horsepower. Not as much as the X6M though, I'll be honest. That makes 617 horsepower, which is obviously more, but it makes less torque, 553. They are both mated to all-wheel drive systems. They're actually made to the same 8-speed ZF transmission. This one's good for a 0 to 60 time of 3.5 seconds. Audi estimates 3.7, but magazines have tested it to be 3.5. And to give you an example, the Lamborghini Urus, which makes 657 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, from the same engine, obviously tuned and tweaked for that application, that does 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. So this thing is capable of a lot of power. I mean, they have made internal updates for things like the Turbo GT, significantly as far as engine internals, which I've gone over in detail in a Cayenne Turbo GT video, which I hope it's up. So don't think that these are just like a tune. You can tune these, people have tuned them, but for those applications, there are actually physical differences underneath the engine beyond just the 4-liter V8. So when you see a 4-liter V8, don't just think they're all the same. There are actually mechanical differences between a lot of them. So that's pretty much it as far as the engine goes. Let's close this hood up and let's hop inside. Okay, so opening up the door here, first thing we're gonna look at, actually I wanna show you guys the seats. So these seats have Audi's, I think, timeless quilted seats with the hexagonal stitching. These are heated, they're ventilated, and with this button right here, you could turn on massages, and I'll show you that on the infotainment system. But really nice seats, really well bolstered. I think this nice, single piece without like an individual headrest, it looks really nice and also is really comfortable. It hugs you really well. So those are the seats. Simple gray stitching, not red. You can get red on this, but this one has a very nice, very simple, and I feel like a really realistic interior, which is more catered towards a daily driver than it is for something that you really want to pop and stand out. This I feel like won't get old, Going on the steering wheel, this one does have Alcantara wrap steering wheel, which I wouldn't have put on a car personally because these get matted down with your oils from your hands and stuff like that over time. But for now, as it's new, it feels really good. Before we get into the interior anymore, let's talk about the doors real quick. This does have obviously leather up top, nice matte carbon on the door panel with your memory seat settings, unlock and lock, switch gear down here, tailgate opening, Bang & Olufsen speaker grill. You come down here, you get the RSQ8 lettering, and both the front doors and the rear doors have puddle lights, and I'll try to overlay a clip of that, which is a really nice touch. They put it on the rear doors as well. And then down here you do get aluminum pedals with RS on the floor mats, which is a nice touch. Let's hop inside here and start this thing up. And I do want to mention this has the executive package, which is an additional option, and that gives you the heads-up display. It gives you the soft closing doors that you saw, it gives you heated rear seats, which we will look at, and it gives you the acoustic glass. This one also has the pop-out 3D sound system from Bang & Olufsen. I'll focus on that. I don't think you guys saw it. I'm gonna close the car. We'll see it hopefully if I open the door, they go in. And if I close the door, and once I turn on the car, they pop up. And one other thing is those soft close doors are part of the executive package. But let's get into it. Audi virtual cockpit, unchanged, and I'll be honest, a lot of this interior is not significantly different than prior years. Virtual cockpit, the dual display system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all your infotainment up here, climate controls down here, which we will turn off because it's getting pretty toasty. Park assist, your safeguard, all that good stuff. Alcantara on the shifter as well. Go into drive, hitting over to sport or manual, or this is manual mode, and then you put park, and it puts it back into park for you, the normal position. Cup holders, traditional key, nothing crazy there. Carbon fiber on the surrounds here with Alcantara and by like a knee padding, which is nice. Carbon fiber underneath here. This is a fingerprint magnet. It's a little annoying, not gonna lie, but you get the extended leather up there, which is really cool. Continuing back down here, you do get wireless charger that increases the cell range. Little cubby here, which is nice. And then this thing can also double as a armrest that extends up, or you just open it. Around the back here, there is Alcantara, which is an interesting touch because I didn't really expect that to be there. So let me go and show you guys the back seats real quick. Coming around the back here, guys, like I said, look at that extra thickness for that acoustic glass. It's two panels sandwiched together with that tint in the middle. As far as the door goes, you do get a little cubby here, which is nice. I'm not sure what kids would really put back here. Two window switches. And I want to notice that you have two window switches in the back, so one kid can play with other kids' windows, but if one of them's giving you trouble, you have two independent child lock controls for those windows. So just keep that in mind. It's a nice touch and something that combats the fact they have two windows. So you have the convenience of it, but you don't have to commit to it. This also has a rear sunshade, which is nice. It's interesting that they have it with a frameless window. It looks really cool when the door is actually open. But let's show you the inside here real quick. Similar stitching with the RS treatment. These seatbelts, I forgot to show you guys up front, but they have gray edging on it as part of just to kind of match the stitching. It's nice. They didn't do it on the center seatbelt though, so just keep that in mind. Audi's kind of, that's how they usually do it with just the outboard ones and not really much of attention to the center seatbelt, which is unfortunate. These seats, they do fold flat with just that, and then you can recline them with that same lever. So yeah, they recline a little bit, nothing too much. And then these seats have a lever down here that you can actually recline these, you can actually slide these seats forward. Let's show you guys how that does as far as legroom. All the way back, loads of legroom. Slide it forward all the way. You still get pretty good. I'm 5'8" sitting behind myself, so I'm not super tall, but taller people have an option for a ton of legroom, obviously at the expense of your storage space. But again, not a huge deal. I think that's really good. I'm gonna close this up here. You see the climate controls, which are nice, touch sensitive. We've seen this in the S7. We've seen it, we're gonna see it on the RS6. And then you do get USB-C ports and a 12 volt. Going over here, you have a little armrest, cup holders that pop out, very nifty. Oh, Audi's always so clever with how they do this stuff. A lot of the European companies are. It's just so cool to just look at that, the amount of thought that goes into it. It's so nice. Closing that up, we did see the carbon fiber on the door card that I mentioned. Nice view of the panoramic sunroof when it is open up back. You still get a nice cutout in the headspace with just scalping for the headlight unit or for the light unit up here. You also get speakers behind you, which is really cool. And yeah, I mean, I have a ton of room back here, and these seats are really well padded, really comfortable. Center seat doesn't have as much attention to it, but again, your gear tunnel under here doesn't take too much space. It's pretty wide, but it's not super high, which is an interesting way to package it, but it works. It really does work.